Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. I'm your host, Mark, joined by co-host Jeff.
Well, Mark, how we doing, buddy?
You know, it's a little early in the morning as of recording, but I'm doing well. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing pretty good. Relaxed, ready to talk about a calm, collected, just a calm, chill ass movie.
Just a breezy watch,
A comfort watch, if you will.
You know, something you just throw on in the background.
Yeah,
and
the family comes in the room and it's totally fine. You can
Jeff,
watch this movie without locking the door.
Jeff, go ahead and tell them the theme this year and run it down for us.
Yeah, so this year we're doing things a little bit different. I think I'm going to stop saying that. But what we're doing is 1 degree of separation. So every film that we watch will have one thing that links the two. So, for example, should you run it down?
Yeah, I can run it down for you.
I always run it down. I want you to run it down.
At the end of 2024, we watched A Simple Favor starring Anna Kendrick, who was also in Life After Beth, which also starred Paul Reiser, who was also in the film Whiplash, which also starred Miles Teller. Miles Teller also starred in Top Gun Maverick, which was written by some Peter Craig, maybe? I don't know.
I think you nailed that.
Peter Craig also wrote the film Gladiator II, which starred Pedro Pascal, who was also in Drive Away Dolls.
That's the penis collector.
That's the penis collector, who also starred Margaret Qualley, who is in this week's film, Jeff.
Yeah, The Substance from 2024, starring Demi Moore, the aforementioned Margaret Qualley, as well as Dennis Quaid, and it is directed by Coralie Fargate.
Yeah, it also stars Dennis Quaid. He's in it for like 15 minutes, but he's really good.
I said that. I said his stars.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Did you know Margaret Qualley is the daughter of Andy McDowell?
It makes sense. I did not know that. I fucking love Andy McDowell.
This film was nominated for 5 Academy Awards at the upcoming Oscars. We'll just run it down real quick. Best achievement in makeup and hairstyling. Okay.
Yeah.
Stand behind that.
I think I do too, because they have Margaret Qualley looking crazy good.
Best motion picture of the year for the film.
Well, there are a lot of movies, but that's always up for debate, right?
Well, I mean, there's 10. There's 10 this year. So, best achievement in directing for Coralie Fargate, and best performance by an actress in a leading role for Demi Moore, and best original screenplay. So, and there was talk that Margaret Qualley was could have been nominated as well for best supporting actress. However, she was not. We can dive into that. But Jeff, you had not seen this film.
No, I had not.
What's surprising to me is that this film went to streaming a couple weeks ago, I think, but it went to Mubi.
What the fuck is Mubi?
It's a subsidiary of Prime.
Mubi?
No, Mubi.
I know what
Mubi
Tubi is, but what the fuck, Mubi?
Mubi, and that's where I watched it my first time. So I watched it because I'd heard crazy things about this film, getting Oscar buzz and award buzz, and so when it went to streaming, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch it," and I did, and it was as crazy and wild as everybody said it was, but I had to do a free trial of Mubi, which I had no idea existed before I watched it.
Yeah.
And what's surprising is Mubi is $10 a month.
Yeah, here to see it on the thing, Mubi. They have an Amazon Prime channel if you wanted to subscribe through Amazon Prime.
Right. So, anyways, Jeff.
Yeah.
You just your quick overarching thoughts.
My knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
This shit is awesome. It's so crazy. I also think, it's really, I I don't want to say Kubrickian, but there are definite inspirations from Kubrick in this. I specifically like that orange hallway with the carpet, and then they go into that bathroom with, I think it had like the orange or red doors on it. It's like that felt right out of The Shining. But it's such a attractive movie. I mean, even there's gross stuff.
I mean, that's the plot of the film, right?
Right. Well, I'm not even just saying the people in it. Just in general, like the bathroom that they're in is like that with all those straight lines, and it's cold and sort of medical in a way.
Well, it's very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, pretty much everything here is nice to look at.
Yes, 100% of the things in this film are nice to look at.
But
even the goop,
right? And so that's the thing is that and Corley Forgeet she hasn't done too much. I think this is her second film.
Yeah,
and I hadn't seen her debut film, but supposedly she's a kind of a visionary director, and it's very, very easy to see here in this film how she can tell a story through everything else going on, rather than just the people, but it's kind of everything else in the film. But the plot is relatively simple. You have an aging actress who wants to stay good looking and in the eyes of an audience, and she gets a proposition to kind of get that, and that's really the plot is that, like, hey, what the consequences of desiring fame and beauty, I guess to an excess. But I mean, this is a body horror film, right?
Yes.
It's classified as a horror film, but it's really body horror. But I thought Demi Moore is the perfect casting choice, is because she's somebody that has kind of not fallen off in Hollywood, but has, she's had a long career in Hollywood. And I thought that, like, getting somebody that kind of embodies maybe some of this in the film in real life was pretty spot on.
Yeah, and I also think she kills it. Like, her Oscar nomination
she's very
is
good.
very well deserved. I think she smashes in this. And I think maybe one of the reasons Margaret Qualley didn't get that nomination is just the stark difference in caliber of actor. And I'm not saying that Margaret Qualley's a bad actress, but the difference, the years of experience that Demi Moore has in acting shows in her ability to just crush this role and to be huge range, right? Happy and bubbly and sad and depressed and fucking going insane. The whole cooking scene in the kitchen where she's watching Margaret Qualley on TV, really good. I think is probably the scene where, the Academy watched it and was like, yeah, this is what we want. And this is a crazy ass movie to get Oscar nominations to me. Like, they don't normally nominate horror for one. And
and they don't typically nominate gory stuff either. And this film is very gory. And
it's crazy.
it is a bit outside the box for the Academy to, let alone even acknowledge exists, right?
Right.
But I mean, they can't. The movie's just too good for them to be like, and kind of roll their eyes and throw up their hands in disgust. But so the stark difference between Margaret Qualley from last week in Driveway Dolls and Margaret Qualley this week is amazing.
Yeah.
And acting, I would say she's much, much, much better here acting than she was in Driveway Dolls, in my opinion. Because, like, the demands of this role, while her character is highly sexualized, it's just like she has to be bubbly and energetic in pretty much every scene she's in, other than when, like, she's laying on the bathroom floor in the house.
Yeah.
And so I just think that, like, I really enjoyed her performance as an actress here, because, like, the only really other thing I've seen her in is Driveway Dolls, and that role was just I did not enjoy it.
I remember.
And this week
favorite.
is this week is one of my favorites for more reasons than one, but the her acting is really good here, and like I agree with you as far as Demi Moore's performance. She's excellent, and she is more nuanced, and that does come from being a veteran actress, I think. But Margaret Qualley's not terribly far behind her in this performance, or this film, with her performance. So very, very good. Now let's talk about Dennis Quaid.
Oh, that is so good. Like, he got the comic book role. Like, they just said, fucking go for it. And I can imagine him on set going for it. And then
I've never seen Dennis Quaid act like this.
Coraline stops. Oh, hold up. No. I want you to fucking go for it. You can't overact. And then he just nails it. He's so slimy. And then there's the scene where he's eating all the shrimp, and it's so gross. And I really like him in this movie. He's really great.
I read something. It was after the first time I watched this film, but I read something that the inspiration for his character, whose name is Harvey, was Harvey Weinstein.
I could see that.
And this was kind of Corley Fargeet's way of kind of saying "fuck you, Harvey." It's because Harvey Weinstein was a maniacal monster and is in prison now, but. Just everything that we learned about Harvey Weinstein after the fact is really who Dennis Quaid's character is in this film. And so I just really like the not so subtle hints of how bad of a place Hollywood is by people that are currently in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well,
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about how it's easy to take down and talk shit about the ones that have already been ostracized, but there's people still in the system that no one talks about, because if they do, they'll get booted out of the system, right? They won't be able to make the movies anymore. And so I still think that there are Harvey Weinsteins in Hollywood.
Sure.
And they're just the only people that are able to talk about it are the ones that are already out, and so it is interesting. I still think that the Hollywood system protects their own, even the slime bags. And so,
the fact that this movie got as many Oscar nominations as it did, while being a movie that criticizes and critiques the current format of Hollywood, is like it's very meta to me. And like, it's Hollywood going, oh yeah, this film is about like how we treat each other. Oh, let's nominate it for some awards. I just like it's surprising to me, and I'm a big awards follower, and so this film's not going to win Best Picture of the Year, but it is like number 3 or number 4 on the list of 10 with the best odds, and simply because of the amount of nominations and who got nominated and what.
Yeah.
But it's just like you talk about aesthetically pleasing, great acting, and then the plot. Like, this is some futuristic, advanced type medicine shit.
I have to talk about how much I love the branding for the substance. It's really great how it is heavily branded, and yet you go and pick it up in this little alley, you know, and then you go into the alley, and then there's this very clean medicinal room where all the lockers are.
Yeah.
I really love all the phone calls with the guy. Like, I can imagine that guy hates his fucking job. You know?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, it's me, 503 again. Fucking hell. What? Respect
I'm at the park with my
balance.
kids, you
the
bitch.
The only reason you're complaining to me is because you don't respect the balance.
Well, and so, hack up that lung.
Sorry. You can edit that out if you want.
No, it's gonna stand. But I think one of the biggest talking points in this film is the fact that these two characters are supposed to be one consciousness, but
I don't think they are. Right?
Well, I mean, but that's supposed. It's supposed to be. They're supposed to be kind of one brain.
Science is funny, right? Like, because their life experiences change, their bodies they're in changes how they react and who they are. They have different body chemistries. Sure, they come in from the same DNA, but I think that they don't have the same consciousness. I think they're different people, and maybe they keep the same memories, but obviously their goals are different when they're in the other bodies. So, like, the first time that Demi Moore comes back after Margaret Qualley is born, she just sits in the house depressed because she doesn't think she can do anything, right? She's just waiting for her chance to go back in the other body. And I would think that makes sense. Maybe at that point, they're still kind of maybe one, the whole thing of them being one, but their goals are totally different. And one of the scenes in this movie, there were a couple scenes where I was so tempted to fast forward, not because they were gross or bad, but because the tension was making me so uncomfortable. The first one was when Margaret Qualley's just really cutting it close, right? Where she's like, she should have swapped out that night and she didn't. And now she's hooking up with this dude. And it's just a lot of tension, like suspense, Hitchcockian suspense levels. And I just was like, ooh, this is too much suspense for me. And then the other time was when Demi Moore was going to go on the date with that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's going to fucking leave this dude hanging. And it pissed me off because I can relate to the average looking dude, right? About to have a hot date. And I know how fucking excited he probably was. And, even over the phone, he's like, I'm just surprised you called me back. Or, like, when you meet him the first time, he writes his phone number down and he's kind of derpy and he drops it and it gets wet and all these things. But her just remembering, hey, this one time he said I was the most beautiful woman in the world and she would just like to be with someone that still sees her as beautiful. I was so rooting for him, even though he's never on screen again and he's a big goober, right? Like, he's a big goober. But I just really wanted him to have the date. I really wanted her to actually strike the balance. Like, because if she, during her week, is dating this guy, she essentially gets to live off the work that Margaret Qualley does and have a normal-ish life the other week, I think would have been a good balance. And I think that that's what the movie's trying to show. So one of the things I felt watching this was like, I would like to watch a movie of someone successfully using the substance.
Yeah.
Yeah, like someone, like they had that young man in the hospital that introduces her to it. He's miserable too. But I kind of was like, I want to see one, like, I guess the level-headed person who would do well in this situation wouldn't put themselves in this situation. Like, I can't imagine injecting myself with random shit I got in a locker, you know? And then all the pipes and hoses and stuff they have to use. That was the other thing, like, about the branding is, like, you get the package, and it's like a damn meal kit. Like, it's like, open this and cut this first, and it's labeled really nicely, but also has, like, IKEA level directions where it doesn't actually tell you what to do. It's like switch, and you just go, okay, shit, I got a pipe with 2 needles on it. I guess this is what they mean. And Margaret Qualley puzzles it out quite brilliantly and is able to figure it out. But I'm like, really? Do you think maybe it was something this delicate, you'd want a little more detail in your instructions?
Well, and I think that's kind of the the crux of the whole thing is that, like, Demi Moore is so she so desires to be young again, and or prettier, or whatever it is that she's feeling, that she doesn't really care, right? Yeah, she got this shit out of an alley, but if it makes her more attractive or younger looking, she's gonna take it. And what's wild to me is that they have to take the spinal fluid out of the other one.
Yeah.
To kind of
that was the
survive.
That was the part that was like the most cryptic that she figured out. Like, it's like, stabilize every day. Okay, I'll just pull the spinal fluid. Like, where did she get that from? They didn't have like a damn book that told you that.
Well, I mean, it's a big fucking needle.
I know, but where do you poke it in? Where do you pull it out from? Like, is it the blood? Like, I wouldn't have necessarily assumed right away it was spinal fluid.
And what's gross is that, like, when Margaret Qualley is, like, on her month-long bender, and like, she's exhausted all the spinal fluid, and she just draws out just, like, gross-looking
brown
garbage.
Goop.
Yeah. I was like, oh God. But man, we have to talk about the sexualization of the film, really. Is because that's a big part of this film is Margaret Qualley being a more sexualized version of Demi Moore. But Demi Moore also, like, Corley Fargan, I imagine, I don't know this, I'm kind of just talking on my ass here, but I imagine Corley
admit it now. It's so nice.
Yeah. Corley Fargan probably told Demi Moore, hey, you're one of the most attractive ladies in Hollywood, and let's stand you in front of this mirror naked, implying that you don't think you're one of the most attractive people in Hollywood, and let's just give you that moment. I just thought, man, that's a not fucked up way, but it's an awesome way to kind of give the middle finger to these standards that often permeate through Hollywood, or we hear about permeating through Hollywood, because of either plastic surgery or Ozempic, or whatever these drugs of choice now are. And here we have I want to say Demi Moore is probably her mid-50s.
Born in 1962.
Yeah, do that math.
So that'd be no. She can't be in her 70s.
She's not in her 70s.
Well, 62 would mean 40. She's
48.
40 by 2002.
Yeah.
And then it's been.
So she's 62?
No, bro. I think she's like. Yeah.
Google will tell us, bro.
I can't be mathing. I'll math. I'll do the math.
Age. No. 62 years old. She's 62 years old. Okay. Google just told me she's 62 years old.
Fucking hell.
But she looks amazing. And And like, so I'm watching this movie with my wife, right? And we're very, we joke, we watch things together all the time.
Adult things, huh?
And like, she's the one that she's like, oh my God, Demi Moore's tits look amazing. And I was like, oh my God, did you see her nipples? But because they're like this long, and I'm holding up my fingers to the camera. But I just like, she is in great shape. She is like, she could have walked around naked and I would have been fine the entire movie. But like, just right, but just like this film deciding that, hey, this actress who is very attractive as a 62-year-old woman, we're going to stand her in front of a mirror and present that she is not okay with it. Like, that's just like mind blowing. Like, that's just, and like Margaret Qualley, she's awesome to look at too. And I'm very grateful that we got the scene in the shower, beforehand. But
so according to her, those are fake breasts, and they looked at
according to who?
Margaret Qualley.
Oh, those are not her real breasts?
Yeah, like she didn't actually. I don't think she did any of the nude scenes. I think they did body doubles and prosthetic breasts.
Well, she's got whoever's ass that was. Yeah. Give me a film of hers. But
was that one of the movie props you'd like to bring home?
No, it's just, and the fact that Margaret Qualley, like, understanding that, hey, this is the character I'm playing, and to not shy away. Like, you probably have to be a certain level of actress and have the certain level of comfort on screen to play this highly sexualized character. And she is, I mean, that's her role. Her role is to be the attractive one, the one to look at, the one the camera. I mean, and the film goes out of its way to show you, hey, we want you to desire this character, is because like where she feels the lump in her ass, and they're on set, and it's like hold up. Let's zoom in on her ass. And
we saw something weird. That there's a lot of funny moments in this movie that made me laugh, and that was one of them, where they just gratuitously zoom in on her butt while just critiquing it frame by frame. But
then in that same scene, she gets highly conscious of self-conscious of what's going on, and she asks for her robe, and then she runs away. And I just thought that a very nuanced decision in that scene to kind of go in contrast from each other is that, like, this whole set and this whole dance theme of, hey, we got this actress, and she's in tight clothing and very, very revealing clothing. And the fact that this show, I guess, was originally on in the morning time, and not at like 11 o'clock at night.
Has a workout show ever made anyone a star?
I don't know.
Like,
Richard Simmons, Richard Simmons.
Okay, fair enough.
He's not in the same realm as Margaret Qualley, but
no. But I don't know that just a workout show in the morning has created stardom that crosses over. Like, I mean, Richard Simmons is obviously a legend, but I don't know.
And I think so. At the start of the film, the film opens with the Hollywood star, and Demi Moore's character receiving the recognition, and then the star over time becoming weathered and cracked, and people drop shit on it.
So did you recognize, like, one thing that got me in the end was the foreshadowing on the star when the guy drops a hamburger on it, and then there's ketchup everywhere. And then, like, the last scene is when she melts into blood, and then they come by and clean it up.
Oh, it's no, it's very good. But, like, I love that opening is because it's so much exposition out of the way.
Yeah.
And it's so well, and it's like maybe 20, 30 seconds of actual screen time. But it establishes who Demi Moore's character is. And just a phenomenal way to open the film. And a great ending. So let's talk about the last 20 minutes of the film. And this film is not a short movie, by the way.
No, but it's brisk.
Like,
there's no way in any world someone can be bored watching this. They might be disgusted and can't watch it for other reasons. They might not like it, but you are not bored watching this.
No. I mean, it's 2 hours and 21 minutes. And it doesn't feel 2 hours and 21 minutes. But it is the last 20 minutes of this film that absolutely
it goes off the rails, man.
Is probably one of the wildest endings to a movie I've ever seen.
I almost feel like it went a little too surreal, although the whole movie is surreal.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's the final fuck you to Hollywood, right?
Suspension of disbelief you have watching this, like, you have to suspend a lot of disbelief because someone has another human born out of their back.
Right,
and
right.
It obviously scientifically just would kill the host.
Yes.
But you get over that. But then at the end, you have this almost like ripped right from Carrie, which I think all of these things are on purpose. I think that she is paying a lot of homage to all of these classic horror films, The Shining and Carrie, and there's probably other references I missed, but it is very much a Carrie sequence at the end, but it's like Carrie turned up to 13.
Yes.
Because it's so wild, because, like, what's going to happen. It's like, so the copy, Margaret Qualley, all right, there's a lot that happens. So somehow Demi Moore is able to bring them both back. And so they
all right. So before all right, we have to. So Margaret Qualley goes on her month-long bender,
right?
And essentially, ages Demi Moore's character by 100, and makes her this, like, grotesque old lady. And I thought it was. I mean, Demi Moore is almost unrecognizable. She almost looks like Glenn Close.
Damn. Whoa, a takedown for no reason. Just shots fired. Holy shit. That's brutal.
But she does. She almost looks like Glenn Close as an old lady. Or Jim Carrey's what's the animated film where he plays Scrooge?
A Christmas Carol? Yeah, the one with Scrooge. Yeah.
But anyways, and so Margaret Qualley ends up, because she doesn't have any more stabilizer fluid to sustain her, so she ends up falling out, and I guess that wakes up Demi Moore. And Demi Moore is this old lady now.
I think she switched.
Oh, did she?
She just barely got in there in time to switch.
Yeah. And so Demi Moore wakes up and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm this old lady." And so she phones the phone a friend guy, and
I love him. I just want to see him in the call center being like, "What?"
And she's like, "I want to terminate end the experiment." And he's like, "Okay." And so she gets the termination juice or whatever it's called. And she gets Qualley and she, like, injects it into her heart, and in the film you hear Qualley's heart stop. And then Demi Moore immediately regrets it and tries to resuscitate her, but then ends up injected, like, while she's still awake, injecting her with her own, I don't know if it was blood or, like, she didn't take her spinal fluid, but
well, she did the switch. So she used the switch mechanism that they're supposed to use to change consciousness. And
right, but she was supposed to be dead, and so so Qualley wakes back up, and then they have this like crazy fight in this penthouse, where Margaret Qualley like Spartan kicks Demi Moore across
really
the room.
Like, she has superhuman powers. It's awesome.
and then decides that she's gonna and she bashes Demi Moore's head in and kills Demi Moore. And that was pretty gruesome. And then she decides, okay, well, I'm awake now. I'm going to go back and do the New Year's Eve show. And she gets there, and then everything starts to fucking fall apart, literally. And like her body parts start falling off. And it's so crazy. And like, I think I've documented here on the podcast that I am not a hand injury guy.
Was it the hand? What was the thing? Was it the hand that we talked about before? What was it? There was a movie.
It was fingernails. It was fingernails.
Was it fingernails? Okay.
Yes.
Because there was
I
something
cannot
you
do.
And I watched, and you were like, "I can't do this.
I can't do it. I can't. I cannot watch somebody's fingernails being ripped off." Yes, it's Stir of Echoes, and I hate that fucking movie. God.
Keep that in mind.
Is Dennis Quaid in that film?
Is Dennis Quaid in there? Demi Moore.
But like she's in the elevator after her teeth have fallen out, and she goes to push the button, and she sees that her fingernails are falling out. Then she rips her fingernails off, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up." And then her ear falls off.
Yeah.
And then she runs back to the apartment, and she ends up trying to duplicate herself again, and it ends up where she just like becomes this grotesque monster. The whole process is wild.
And I love that the monster doesn't have the self-awareness of their own looks.
Right.
To know, like, the whole problem with these other two versions is they just don't think they're attractive, or they've aged, or they have small imperfections, if you will. And yet here's this monster that comes out, and it's just like, damn, I look good. And then starts putting on makeup and jewelry, and then eventually tapes a mask of Demi Moore to herself.
Well, that's Demi Moore's like face is in her back.
Yeah.
And then she's got like a one singular tit
I
on
think
her
there's
face.
two, but they're like deflated balloons.
Yeah. And then the movie references things that were said early on in the movie by casting agents or whatever, and kind of just makes this thing, everything like everything that's bad or what the characters thought were bad about themselves, and I don't know if it was Margaret Qualley in that suit. I'd assume it was, but I'm not sure. But when she goes up on stage, and one of the guys in the audience goes, "It's a monster! Shoot it!"
It goes so crazy, so fast.
Oh, it's wild. It's just like, and then Margaret Qualley's arm falls off, and it starts spraying blood like a machine gun everywhere. Like she's holding it like a machine gun.
An unrealistic amount, just an insane fire hose.
The entire auditorium sequence is both one of the best scenes I've ever seen and one of the most crazy scenes I've ever seen.
It's unhinged.
It's
crazy.
And then she like goes berserk in the auditorium, and then she runs away outside, and then she melts into nothing while Demi Moore's face kind of crawls to.
It crawls out of her.
Yeah.
It's what you have to just watch this because it just keeps going there. Like, I knew I was in for something crazy, but I didn't know what I was in for. If that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah. What were you thinking watching this for the first time?
I honestly, the monster at the end was about as far as I thought we were going to go. Like, I thought, and her teeth falling out and all, that's kind of what I expected. The whole sequence with the fire hose in the auditorium, and then her face crawling out of herself, and it just is so wild. Like, it took it as far as it could, and I am high five the creators of this film.
Yeah.
Because when it ended, when this, it's did that thing where the end of the movie, it shows the title of the movie. And I just said to myself, I said, now that's a fucking movie. Because it just, it had me on a ride for 2.5 hours, I was riding this roller coaster.
It's a film like this that I wish would win, like, Best Picture. Like, it's an accomplishment to be nominated for Best Picture. And then I'm sure the creators, and this film, I guess it's a movie original. I don't know, because the movie is on the poster, so it's got to be a production company.
Probably just like a publisher or something,
Maybe, but you're talking about a small, production company that is just maybe just thinks, hey, we're just happy to be here. We got nominated. We're good. But this film's gonna win probably 2 or 3 out of the 5
Demi
awards
Moore
that I got.
Should win. I don't know. Who else is nominated.
She's the favorite. She is. She's been winning everything this awards season. So she's the favorite. If she doesn't win, it would be an upset. Director Corley Fergie's probably not getting it, but makeup and hairstyle, I could see, and then original screenplay, I would say it's probably got a pretty good chance, because this film is highly original.
Yeah.
But it's just films like this that I wish would win, because we need the world needs more films like this. I mean, you talk about like just movies that, I mean, there's a movie starring Adrian Brody that's nominated. It's a World War II kind of epic. But we've seen that movie. It's called The Brutalist. We've seen that movie before. We've seen movies like that movie.
I think the thing is that when she set out to make The Substance, nobody thought it was Oscar bait. I don't think.
Right.
I think that it's a niche genre film. I don't think anybody was like, this is going to be up for Oscar season, which is what I like about it. They made the movie they wanted to make. Old-ass people in the Academy be damned. So that's why I would rather win as opposed to some World War II epic. How many of those do we need? A billion? Because we have that many. And none of them are as good as Saving Private Ryan. So why keep doing it?
Well, and when I say World War II epic, it's very little about the actual war, and it's about post-war and this survivor of Auschwitz.
Asleep as you talk about it.
You would fall asleep in real life because the movie is 3.5 hours long.
Oh my God!
But it's nominated for I think it's like 10 Academy Awards, and it's got a good chance of winning. And the thing about it is, like, if only award shows and awards factions would give films like The Substance a Best Picture award because, like, I'm sure Corley Fargeet shopped this idea around to several production studios and found one that was willing to let her make the movie she wanted. And meanwhile, like, say Warner Brothers makes this film and it's streaming on Max and it's getting a wide release and people are seeing it. Like, I don't know how much this movie made. It probably didn't make that much money in a wide release because it probably didn't get that wide of a release. But I just think that, like, films like this,
pretty much on a budget of $17.5 million, it made $17 million.
Yeah,
did a worldwide gross of 76. So they made their money back, but not in the States they didn't.
Right, and to be nominated for an Oscar, your film has to receive a wide release by a certain date, and all this. And so, this film is a breath of fresh air. It's it is very opinionated, whether it be via visual or actual dialogue. It's very opinionated, and it's very good. And, like, when a film like that hits all those checks all those boxes, man, we should celebrate that. And, like, as movie watchers and connoisseurs of movies, I would say, like, I love a movie like this. It's because it's original, it's wild, it's great, it's everything is great about it. But at the end of the day, it's not going to win anything because the Academy is, enchanted by a post-World War II epic that's 3.5 hours long. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm starting to wonder now, as the highlights of this movie play on my IMDb screen, is if the reason and I still stand by the fact that they both have separate consciousness, is I wonder if they started having separate consciousness when Margaret Qualley started going rogue.
Maybe, yeah.
Because before that, I don't think that they do. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. And like on my second watch for this podcast, I understood some more things better, I think, than I did the first time. Because the first time you're just watching, you're like, oh, that's weird. Oh, that's wild. Oh, shit. Some crazy shit's happening. And, like, you're just caught up in the film. But when you watch it a second time, you kind of get, you look at motivations deeper. You look at, plot lines a little bit more. And I think this film on a additional watch for you may be beneficial because you'll watch it with, hey, I know the ending, so the ending is not going to throw me for a loop, and I can dial into, what are the actual characters and their motivations here in the film. And so it's Jeff, do you recommend this film?
Yeah, of course. It's really great. Again, been a stacked year for us.
It's been and we're only in February. So that's crazy. But it has been a stacked year. I mean, we've been on some bangers lately, but I too recommend it. It's an excellent film. Maybe it surprises and wins Best Picture. I doubt it, but it deserves it. I love films like this, and wholly original, and Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley's bodies are pretty good too. So
there you have it.
Yeah, what are we watching next week?
Well, that wouldn't you like to know? So you talked about that 3.5 hour movie. One of the movies I had set aside, which I opted to not go with, it does star Dennis Quaid, and it's called Wyatt Earp.
I've seen Wyatt Earp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it's like 3.5 hours. I'm like, I think I'll just watch that on my own because I kind of wanted to watch it again, and I'd seen it years ago, and I'm a big fan of Tombstone, and it's like Tombstone except not as good and twice as long.
Yeah.
Now, so what I did opt for is another Demi Moore performance. But you know me. I had to get in my time machine.
Yep.
I had to get in my time machine back to 1993 with a film that stars Robert Redford, Woody Harrelson, Billy Bob Thornton, and Oliver Platt.
Indecent Proposal.
How'd you know?
I just looked at the IMDb in 1993, and it's the only one.
Oh, God, you cheater. You take all the fun out of it. It's supposed to be surprised. Okay, we're watching Wyatt Earp. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not watching that again.
I've never seen it.
Oh, what a surprise. Yeah, I know.
But, Woody Harrelson, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at you. I think if we look at the movies we picked, now granted, I think your movies have probably been better than mine, although I don't know, maybe not. But my cast lists give you way more options.
Yeah, no, it's
you give me one, I get two options because I can't use Margaret Qualley. I get to go Demi Moore or Woody Harrelson, or not Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore or Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid, yeah.
And then I was like, here's 5 all-star actors you can pick from, and you're going to be like, well, this one guy washed one of the toilets during filming, and he also did a toilet in this movie, and you'll link them in some... Anyway.
I mean, I've never seen Indecent Proposal, and I don't know that much about it.
You know the initial, like the pitch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the IMDb synopsis here.
I mean, that's the pitch, you know. A rich guy offers a couple $1 million for one night with his wife.
Yeah. And so the trailer just played on IMDb, and it says now available on video cassette.
Ooh.
So no, I'm gonna.
It's on Paramount Plus, though.
Paramount Plus. Okay, good. I will have a good time thumbing through the cast list here for our follow-up film after this. But I'm excited to watch it. It's not really a blind spot, but it's something that I've
never seen it either.
Okay.
And that is a little more surprising because I do watch movies that are older.
Well, this is an erotic thriller, right?
You know me, man.
That was one of our best themes last year.
We're on the same page about.
And Demi Moore. This is in Demi Moore's like heyday here in the 90s. So
I think this is one of her top 2 most famous roles.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. See, we got a young Woody Harrelson here in this film, where he had a head full of hair. Cool.
Yeah.
You know what else is cool is you hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, so you don't miss any future content right here on the channel. And if you want to follow the podcast on all your favorite social media platforms, we're at Movie Draft House. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, right here on YouTube. Give us a like, follow, and a subscribe. Help us out. And you can catch the podcast as it releases weekly every Thursday on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Jeff, tell them where they can find you.
I've got 2 other podcasts. I've got one called Chronologically, where me and my buddy Eric go through the full filmographies of some of cinema's greatest creators. We're currently looking at all the films from Quentin Tarantino. And that's about to start in a week or 2. So you can subscribe and get those. And then my other podcast is called All Things Being Sequel, where we look at some of cinema's most prolific series and look at the good, bad, and ugly, as Eric would say. And you can find those wherever you get your podcasts.
They can also find you on something called Blue Sky.
Yeah, if you want. I don't ever check it. I use it about as much as I just don't. I'm not a social media guy anymore.
Jay Queasy is
at Jay Queasy on Blue Sky.
Yeah. Anyways, so catch us next week as we watch Indecent Proposal, streaming on Paramount Plus if you want to watch that ahead of time. Jeff, any last words?
Nope. We'll see you next week.